All right, so moving on to the next segment, we're going to pivot here to the world of wrestling inside the WWE world. And in this next segment, I'll be sharing my thoughts on the latest WWE releases that have happened in the company over the last 24 to 48 hours. So there's been, it's basically springtime, and the WWE is known for doing some spring cleaning by doing some releases around this time of the year. So this is the new wave of releases, and I'll be going over the biggest names that stand out to me that were released from the WWE, that being on the main roster and the NXT, the developmental brand. So, starting off with the first name is Braun Strowman. Now, I'm really shocked about this one. I did not expect Braun Strowman to be released by the WWE, and in his second run that Triple H brought him back to the company, I thought he did a good job feuding with the big man of the future for this company, that being Bronson Reed. They had an epic monster versus monster feud on Monday Night Raw months ago, and he was doing a good job putting over Jacob Fatu and another monster versus monster feud taking place on the Blue brand of Friday Night SmackDown. So with bad knees and all, Braun Strowman gave it his all. And still, I feel like Braun Strowman was perfect for the mid-card scene. And this is somebody that truly busted his ass to get these big men over and do a good job in his second run with the company. And you could tell when Paul Heyman went on the Pat McAfee show on ESPN, the Raw after WrestleMania, and he was obviously playing the heel on TV, but he honestly gave away the secrets that were going on backstage. Braun Strowman being upset that he was not part of the WrestleMania 41 card. But for Braun Strowman, if this is it for him at the end of his wrestling career, he has nothing to be ashamed of. Two good runs with the WWE. He was a part of the Wyatt family, former Intercontinental Champion, former Tag Team Champion, former Universal Champion. A lot of people forget that he went over on Goldberg at WrestleMania 36 to win his first ever world title. A pretty solid feud with Bray Wyatt in 2020. A lot of good feuds over the years with Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, and several others. But Braun Strowman, I am really shocked that the WWE released him. This is somebody that you could have kept around to continue these big man feuds, and the roster doesn't have a big man face right now. So I think that his void, that big SOB, is going to be missed in the WWE this time around. But I was very shocked with this release. Next name on the list would be Dakota Kai. Now, I'm shocked about this one. I thought Dakota Kai was pretty solid in her second run with the WWE. Another name that Triple H brought back when he was in charge and took over for Vince McMahon. But she was great with damage control of Bayley and Io Sky and Kairi Sane and Asuka. They did a good job establishing damage control on one of the best women's factions that we've seen over the last few years. But it's a shame that Dakota Kai never got to break out and do her own thing as a single star and never really got a good solid run by herself. I thought this was somebody that could have been a great women's Intercontinental Champion in the mid-card scene one day, but Triple H used her well on the Black and Gold days, Black and Gold era in NXT, but that success never really translated over to the main roster. I think Dakota Kai still has a bright future in wrestling, could go to AEW or TNA and be great in either one of those promotions in the women's division. But shocked about this one, Dakota Kai being released. Next two names would be Quintana Chance and Kaden Carter. Now, this one's a head scratcher because I feel like Quintana Chance and Kaden Carter were one of the best tag teams that this women's tag team division even had. And the tag team division for the women have always been cursed. I mean, this is a division that really, every time they start to see elevation, it goes all the way back down. Something always happens with these women's tag team titles. So I think they were one of the best women's tag teams that the company had to offer, and both are great in the ring, both have a lot to offer, probably could touch up on their mic skills, but WWE lost one of the best tag teams on the men and women's divisions in the WWE. So I think these two respective wrestlers will find a home soon. Once, I guess, what is it, a 60 to 90 day where they have to wait in order to sign with a new promotion, but they will be back to work very soon. Big loss for the company, in my opinion. Next is Shayna Baszler. Now, Shayna Baszler, I do believe she's up there in age. I think she's beyond 40 years of age. If I'm wrong about that, I apologize. But I've just felt like there was nothing left for Shayna Baszler in the WWE to do, to be honest with you guys. And yes, back in the day, in the Black and Gold era days, Triple H made her a big-time star, having a lengthy run with the NXT Women's title. But After losing to Becky Lynch at WrestleMania 36, when Vince McMahon brought her up to the main roster, remember, in that Elimination Chamber match that year, she eliminated the rest of the competition, all 5 women in that chamber match, to get a title shot against Becky Lynch. But after that, in 2020, when she lost to Becky, I thought she should have went over that night. She lost steam in the main event scene, and when Triple H reused her in the main event scene in 2023, when she turned her back on Ronda Rousey after they lost the women's tag team titles, and she defeated Ronda Rousey at SummerSlam 2023. After that, the feud or the steam for Shayna Baszler being a main event star never really went anywhere. So that's why I feel like this release doesn't surprise me. She could go somewhere else. I think a hot take here. I think that Shayna Baszler could shine in AEW alongside Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Pac, and the Death Riders faction. I think she could be somebody that could be really solid, a part of that faction alongside Moxley and others in AEW. Hot take, but Shayna Baszler, she probably will continue her wrestling career elsewhere, but I just felt like there was nothing else for her to do on the WWE roster. With a lot of women superstars that are going to be elevated to the main roster very soon. Next name would be Cora Jade. Now, this one did shock me. I think Cora Jade has a lot to offer. With the more guidance in NXT, I thought she could have became a solid main roster wrestler one day. I mean, she's very young in her career, and she just went over on Bayley and on an NXT episode back in February, and she was just a part of a good Fatal 4-Way women's title match in February as well. But I mean, she had a good few moments on NXT, and I feel like the WWE might have been pissed off in the direction that she was going on the developmental brand, not blossoming and becoming something that they thought she could have been, being a part of NXT for the last 3 years or so. And I think also the injuries are a reason why the WWE pulled the trigger on Cora Jade. This is a woman that's missed a lot of time with some injuries, being this young and being this early into your wrestling career. Injuries pile up, and if you can't move around the ring and you can't sell for your opponents, what good are you at the end of the day? Unfortunately to say, that's how the wrestling business goes. But Cora Jade, this is somebody that could obviously shine in NXT, not NXT, but TNA in the women's division. I think she'll be back out there soon. But yes, and the final name I'll go over will be Gigi Dolan. After Toxic Attraction basically ended when Mandy Rose was released from the WWE a few years ago with the incident of the company forcing her to shut down her OnlyFans account, didn't do it. The rest is history. She's out of the company. But Gigi Dolan I felt like she had no direction after that in NXT. I mean, they tried the feud with her and JC Jordan, that is still a part of the company. But other than that, I feel like they tried at least to make Gigi something, and she never was. And with the NXT Women's Division that is stacked top to bottom, I don't think there was room for her to shine. I think she'll be somewhere wrestling, probably be in TNA as well one day. But those are my thoughts on the latest WWE releases. I'm surprised some other names weren't a part of this, but to be fair, overall, this does happen every year, and we've seen way more shocking releases in the past when it's this time of year. So these releases will be missed, but I feel like there's a reason behind the scenes why the WWE felt like they needed to move on from these respective men and women wrestlers. But those are my thoughts on the WWE latest releases while the company does their spring cleaning.